Welcome back to the Overwatch Open. I thought I was going over there, but either way, welcome back. Splice and CLG, or CLG. I realize that we've not made a decision yet. Either way, CLG doesn't quite get the pun, have fallen to Splice in a rather convincing 2-0. We now move into an interesting one. We're into the quarterfinals, two of which, in fact, you got the other one locked in as well. You'll have seen it on the graphic. Yep. TSM Sody Pop locked in for after this one. We get to delve into North American Overwatch in just a moment. And the game is interesting. We get LG versus Selfless. Now, you've already set the scene quite beautifully, John. However, I'm going to probe you to do it a little bit more. LG and Selfless. Now, I'm going to go and fanboy over Selfless, so I'll let you set the scene for LG.
We've lost the C. It's just LG now. We've got that out of the way.
Okay.
Selfless, Selfless, very good team. Not necessarily as well known. Well, definitely not as well known as Luminosity, and definitely not as highly sought after, shall we say, as a team. But they are a team that possesses the individual skill required that I actually think they could take fights to Luminosity on a King of the Hill map, for example. So this could be one of those games where if Luminosity takes a payload map and we need to see a map choice out of Selfless, we could go to Napola Lijiang Tower. Which
have been in the pool. I need to note that we have seen them in as a third map decider. However, we've never got there. It's been these 2 zeros, and so you will hopefully see a King of the Hill or a capture point coming up soon. That would be good. I do want to just quickly highlight some of the history to look forward to with Selfless. I'm sorry, we did this in Quake. I want to do this in COD because Call of Duty 4 Pro Mod was where we saw the likes of Juvenile and Rob Wiz make their name. Even Michael showed up as well under the EG tag. Now, these guys were North Americans who genuinely just walked through Call of Duty competitive. They got first, second, and third at the 3 biggest Call of Duty 4 competitive events, and especially as the less competitive region, that was really impressive. And they got there through a lot of mechanical skill, which we talked about before, and we saw evidence of with Anox and the Quake boys, that mechanical skill does get you to a certain place, a certain part of competitive Overwatch, and then it comes into team communications.
Yes.
Now, I'm intrigued to see how this translates for them. This will be my first seeing of Selfless perform, and there's no doubt Luminosity are heavy favourites, John, coming into this one, right?
Yeah, I think so. Luminosity, a lot of their squad have also played together for just as long. We have Enigma and Seagull, of course, 2 of the more well-known players. Yeah, who's this guy?
What are you talking about?
Well, if he happens to be streaming, we'll watch the server crash incoming. But one of the most liked and one of the most followed players in the game. He got good at the game very, very quickly. He's not necessarily like, top 2, top 3 best players in the world, which that in itself might be a controversial statement to some people, but I don't think he is. But he's good enough as an all-rounder, and most importantly, Seagull has been historically very consistent as a DPS player. Never have I seen someone go into a tournament going, oh, I'm playing against Seagull, I think he's having an off day, we'll be fine. That just doesn't happen.
Right, and it's the consistency which I feel like is a keyword, Dan, that we will bring up in every competitive video game we ever play. Some players have consistency, others don't. And I know you could make a 40-minute video about consistency and where it comes from, but if you could just touch on that for a moment, what are your thoughts? Where do you get these consistent players, and how do they arise, and how do you define it?
I think there can be a mix, because you get those players that can just sit down, and if you ask them to explain anything about their game or anything else, they will probably not even tell you how to install the game or turn a computer on, but they can just sit down and do it. But then you do get some players, I think, like Seagull, who are, sorry, just forgive me, I'm going to say cerebral again. I believe these players, even though they're not as mechanical, and this will be their closing thought before we get into this, they have the ability to structure the game in a way that they can be consistent, because they always are setting themselves up for the right situations, and they're not relying on that raw talent. Something that you'll see more with a player like Cypher, who we saw earlier, who's super raw, has super raw talent, but sometimes he can hit or miss. And so right now we're into this one.
All right, well, we'll see what happens now. We've got Luminosity currently defending. And we have Enigma on D.Va. Milo is going to be playing Reinhardt. Seagulls on Junkrat. We've got the Rat. Respect the Rat. I'll be watching that very, very curiously. Indus playing Zenyatta. Pooks on Lucio. And finally, Gods on Beloved McCree. And on the other side, Selfless is trying to run without an offensive Junkrat here. We have Michael 3D on D.Va. By the way, Michael 3D is a sick Zarya. Watch out for that. Juvenile on Reinhardt. Dak is on Lucio. Chili's going to be playing Zenyatta. Rob Wiz on Reaper. And finally, Emon will be playing McCree.
So I'm loving that, you get your wish, seeing that Junkrat, and Speaking of which, we have the push coming in, and that concussive grenade able to do a lot of damage. They're pushing players out of position on the attack. Really nice to split things up, and we can see the frags are raining in at the moment. Seagull with a couple there, and D.Va from Enigma able to get a few finishes himself, allowing them to clean things up very nicely. And we can see that, of course, the tire is still there on Seagull, and you can see the placement right behind the car, very obscured position for that initial trap, and that's really important as well, because if you're able to get that first pick off, when that can just really hamstring an attack straight away. Yeah,
especially if that first pick off, for example, is a Reinhardt, where as soon as they're immobile, the shield goes down and they're a sitting duck. But they do manage to stop that at the moment. Seagull, though, with the Riptire, in addition to the extra damage coming from above, he is absolutely the highest DPS player in this game right now. Yes, Junkrat has fallen out of the meta, but Seagull didn't get the memo.
Absolutely not. And you were saying just, I mean, we may even see him switch after this first checkpoint if it's going to be lost by Luminosity. That's something that I'll be interested to see whether or not that's going to happen. Also, as a node to the versatility of Seagull as a player. But that is perhaps getting too far ahead of ourselves. We have the next push coming in, and Seagull doing a lot of damage with these grenades, just as you would expect from any Junkrat.
So this is the kind of situation where I actually wish, maybe not Michael 3D because D.Va's really powerful at the moment, but I want to see someone on Zarya. When there's so much damage from Junkrat just being indiscriminately shot down, I'd love to see the shields absorb it and to make Seagull think twice about just continuously holding down left click. That would be really, really great, but we don't see that reaction coming out of Selfless right now.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the most interesting counters, and we're going to get a Death Blossom coming in here, although not too much damage done from that one frag claimed onto the Zenyatta of Luminosity. And Luminosity actually losing a few players here. We have a really nice contest situation, but it does look like the push is starting to be a little bit whittled down, although Selfless coming in with some reinforcements to try to muster an additional effort back in. But here comes the Riptide. It needs to be good, and it will claim the life of the McCree at the very least.
Yeah, so Juvenile going down is a problem. You want to be able to have those shields to keep the other team from popping in, because at the end of the day, Luminosity has the high ground advantage as well. They can go upstairs onto the balcony and shoot down. So having the shield at least gives you partial protection from that, and Juvenile going down early on makes it really tricky for them. Another hold from Luminosity, and we have 1 minute remaining now for Selfless to take the first point. This could be a straight-up full hold from Luminosity.
It's looking really good at the moment. We're waiting to see Selfless's next big attempts. But again, all this damage coming in towards the shields of the Reinhardt makes him think twice before going forwards without his teammates with him. There's a Lucio speed boost there to get things going. And we have a nice reaction coming in from Luminosity. The D.Va just trying to deposition people, moving around, making things awkward as Robwiz comes in from the back with the Reaper. This could be the play here, taking down 2 players. What else can he find as he goes for some additional health? We get the finish attempt coming in from Milo. He should be able to make this happen, and indeed, the Reaper will be done.
20 seconds left to go. Luminosity still holding the point. Pooks was dead for a while, and he's going to have to jump back on Lucio, but thanks to the speed boost, it won't take that long, and he will be able to heal the team again. This will be the final push from Selfless. Juvenile staking his claim and trying to rush in on a... Ooh! Never mind, on a rush, and he actually forces the Riptide to get killed off on him, but there is no shield available right now for Selfless. This is looking difficult.
Yeah, with no shield and numbers disadvantage, that is a massive problem. We have the overtime here, but it looks inevitable that Selfless will not be able to make this one happen, but they do have a few players coming in, actually getting some kills, and Seagull's going to go down, as well as Zenyatta and the D.Va.
Wow.
They might have just done it in overtime. It does look like it's good at the moment as they get the reinforcements there off the spawn, and I think Luminosity realize, all right, guys, it's time to regroup elsewhere, take the high ground on the second point. Selfless have managed to secure the payload.
That was very scrappy, but maybe scrappy is exactly what Selfless needed there. They didn't win that because they won a big team fight against Luminosity, guys. They won that because they coincidentally won about 3 different 1v1 battles independently of each other, and then when they regrouped, they went, hang on a second, we've actually got this, and they do. I'm glad it came before then. Luminosity will be denied the full hold, and we have another opportunity now for them to push to the end of the map, but 5 minutes have already been elapsed. This is going to be a slow time if they get through to the end.
And you can see already problems here. I like that we're having everyone going in. This is the switch we're thinking about. We've got the Junkrat switched out for Seagull into a Genji. Yep. He's causing a lot of problems getting in their face at the moment, and that's allowing Reinhardt also to get in position for Luminosity. Milo's able to get the shield up over the choke point. and Selfless can't go anywhere.
You've actually touched on a very good point there. This is the reason we see the change-up. Technically, Junkrat, with the concussive mine, can get up onto the roof, and you can start seeing mines come down from above, and that's actually really powerful on this point as well from Junkrat. What Junkrat can't do, like Genji can, is get in your face, and Seagull does conveniently specialize in getting in people's faces.
He does, and that's what he's doing. He has popped the ultimate, and the sword comes out. He won't get too much in the way of kills from it, though, but again, does get some good damage there. Forces the D.Va to separate from the main push, and in some sense, it might be good, but here, it doesn't actually help.
Michael 3D is on Seagull duty. Keep an eye on him when Seagull gets back into the fight. It's really clear that the team have said to Michael 3D, your job is whenever Genji pops out, follow him to the ends of the earth and make sure he can't do anything. So keep an eye on Michael 3D. He just shut down Seagull very hard, and that could be pivotal to Selfless finishing them out.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be important. We get a really fast Earthshatter out there coming in from Luminosity, trying to break the push and stop the second payload, or the second point from being captured with that payload. And we get the Transcendence coming in as well. And it's looking not too bad, actually, for the Luminosity side as they're getting multiple kills. But the Death Blossom could change things as Rob Wiz gets a couple kills. And it looks good right now for Selfless. They are cleaning house, and this second checkpoint does look to be going their way.
Very, very nicely done. And they are now steamrolling through. I feel like Luminosity haven't adjusted enough. Yes, Seagull is on Genji, but he's been more in your face and less sitting on top and sort of waiting for the right opportunity, like we've seen other teams on Hollywood so far. They've been very eager to take the fight to Selfless and just win that straight-up brawl. And that, I think Selfless are still worse than Luminosity at that, but playing positionally, I'd say Luminosity is 75-25. Playing in the brawl, maybe more like 60-40. And Selfless have been very good at taking their chances.
We got more brawls on our hand right now. We got the High Noon coming out as well. See if that can do anything there from... Actually, no, he didn't actually pop it in the end. Just held it, cancelled it. Back to 50% for him, but the payload is making a lot of progress here for Selfless. They're looking at a good push, and Luminosity are biding their time, looking for the perfect moment to go in and strike. And here it is, Seagull. He was waiting for it, pops the ultimate, just swinging, slicing, dicing, and everyone is going to be left in pieces, eviscerated by Seagull. And that is... I mean, if they had messed that up, that would probably have been the GG there. But
I can hear Twitch chat from here. Rest in Pepperinos, flocked by a Seagull, you name it, it's all there. This is what they pay to watch. And that was, to be fair, that was straight up excellent from him. That is the hold that they needed. The payload is now moving backwards. Selfless are going to have to move back, but 4 ultimates available. We have Earthshatter, we have Self-Destruct, we have Sound Barrier, and we have Transcendence. And 2 of them being played right now. We have Transcendence combined with Let's Break It Down. So Selfless is really trying to push this home.
This is, again, we're looking at that brawl situation. There's chaos all over the place as Reinhardt tries to shield his teammates to get that payload moving again, but it is not happening. There are Luminosity players swarming all over the place. Of course, the spawn is really close at the moment for them. And right now, Selfless struggling to get the kills they need. They're actually getting crushed at the moment as they have to now regroup and go for another push. They've managed to push the payload so far, but this is where it could all go wrong.
Criticism, unfortunately. Ultimate timing, not very good there. Chili with the Transcendence, excellent, but Dak maybe with the with Lucio ultimate could have staggered it a little bit more, could have waited until after Transcendence ended. The overlap there didn't really do Selfless that many favors, and it meant that Juvenile was less effective with his ultimate, Earthshatter, as a result. So could have been timed a bit better. It means that Rob Wiz is now the only person on Selfless with an ult. That's going to be really awkward when they try and push this home.
And how do you get the Death Blossom in there? Looks like he's going to be trying to do that, but no one's really grouped up for him to abuse just yet, and looks like he's going to just work his way into some positioning for that. He's going to go down, though, and again, there's just no opportunity for him to do anything, and Selfless will wipe once more. It's Luminosity holding the line, and there's no one close to the payload, and that's going to be that. It looks like it was close, but Luminosity will hold.
Yep, and while time isn't going to be a factor, that would have been 9 minutes and 28 seconds, by the way, which would have actually been a reasonably slow time as well. As it stands, we're going to be focusing on the distance pushed, and if Luminosity are able to beat that, they will be able to take the map. MVP, for once, I can say this without any hint of bias, Seagull has been fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta love the amount of damage that he did in the first checkpoint, and also, I mean, again, when he went for the Genji switch initially, as you mentioned, he forced Selfless to dedicate a player to disable him essentially the entire time, and that in of itself is quite an important distinction because to be in that spot, you're almost justifying being the Genji there, even if you can't get anything done. you're taking away the attention of one guy. And that's, for the attackers, that's a really big deal because they don't have the advantage of positioning as the defenders do.
I did like, though, Michael 3D. I would actually place Michael 3D in second place to Seagull there. Because I thought he isolated Seagull rather well. Unfortunately, after Seagull had had most of his damage done, and we knew what their game plan was. It looked very clear, and we'll see if Luminosity can hopefully push even further. So it's 69.12 meters, and that is off of the second last checkpoint. It's also worth noting, by the way, that Dak is going a little bit more conventional here. Our support players do include a Mercy for Selfless.
Is that the first Mercy that we have seen?
Second, I want to say. I feel like we saw one on Dorado earlier today in the EU section of the broadcast.
All right. Oh, I think you're right, yeah.
Much earlier.
Yeah. I believe you are correct, sir, but not really too much of a presence from them otherwise.
No.
And
So they're going without a Lucio because they are still playing with Chili on Zenyatta. Zenyatta, of course, coming back into the fore quite a lot now. And Luminosity are playing an Ana. Enigma is going to be playing Ana as we move out. And Seagull, ladies and gentlemen, is on Reaper. This gonna be fun because that combination is sick. Ana Reaper ult combination. That is 100% what they're going for here because Seagull is flashy and isn't ashamed of it. Saying it.
We're going to get pushed around the side here. Standard stuff coming out from Luminosity to get into position. Of course, at this early stage, they do not have any ultimates available to them. But let's see who is going to be able to win in the battle of getting that meter going for them. See that right now Selfless kind of giving up the upper position, and this could be problematic actually. We see a nice little flick shot coming in there from God's able to take down Chili straight away. That's the Zenyatta done, and that's a lot of damage now gone. This is going to be tough. I love this. They've got the pick off. Now they're just waiting for the moment to capitalize.
Yep, exactly right. They just need to pick and choose their timing very, very carefully here. Robwiz and Emon both going down to Seagull, but Earthshatter is going to... Oh, God, it's not just Earthshatter, is it? That's Seagull Casserole, unfortunately, getting made there. Really powerful stuff from Reinhardt. It's not necessarily going to be enough to get them off of the point, though, and that's a crucial bit.
Yeah, so going to have to go for the second attempt, regroup up there. Although that said, Enigma's still in there trying to harass. He won't die, though. And we see now it's going to be up to Luminosity with their second attack. They have two ultimates ready now. They've got Milo on the Earthshatter. And, of course, I think they just actually used a Deadeye to get into position, and that is now McCree dead. Let's see if the Earthshatter can come off there. Milo does actually pop it, but not too much avail at the moment.
Michael 3D's positioning on D.Va has been really quite good. I love how he keeps moving up to the high ground, looking for opportunities to jump down and pick off individual targets with that D.Va DPS. I think he's playing that very, very well. Unfortunately, he needs the rest of the team to get behind it as well to make sure that they can consistently do it over time. But right now, they are just about holding on to the first point.
And pretty annoying there, I think, for Luminosity that they are quite far away from many ultimates. Zenyatta's the only one who's close to building a second one. We've got the sound barrier up though, that might be enough. But right now, Selfless are rocking 3 ultimates themselves. They have Shadow, they've got the Self-Destruct and the Deadeye there from McCree. So Selfless with some nice advantages there, but once again, giving up the high ground, allowing Luminosity to come to them and make their play.
And one play we haven't really talked very much about is actually Gods. And hang on a second, because Lucio Ultimate is going to mean we're actually moving in very, very quickly again. He's looking to pick off McCree. He finds him, actually, and dear, oh dear, Gods, that was great. He moved straight past Mercy. Most McCrees would have stopped and flashed there, and he knew that Emon had Deadeye available. That was an excellent play coming out of the McCree player from Luminosity.
And that is going to be a successful take, finally, for Luminosity of the payload, and now they can start to get things moving. And again, I would be curious to see if we do have any more switches from Luminosity. Again, they do seem like a very versatile group of guys, but I mean, I think their setup is probably still going to be very nice moving forwards.
Well, that did take a little while. Unfortunately, and again, we should probably mention this, we're no longer traditional stopwatch rules, because that 9 minute 27 seconds doesn't matter anymore. You just need to get the payload to the same point they did before, which means that the attacking team can afford to take their time a bit more and just sort of be very, very calm about the way that they push. And that's why you're not going to see Luminosity desperate to run on through. Wow, that's actually a very early collapse coming in from Selfless. They are not waiting for a payload to get into a better position. Let's see how they do here. Chili is the first casualty on Zenyatta. God's managing to get him from afar. God's actually playing out of his mind this game, I have to say. His accuracy on those headshots on McCree has been phenomenal.
And looks like Luminosity are getting the push as a result of that. Look at the Death Blossom coming in, just jumping straight in there. Seagull's going to make the money. 3 players down from that Death Blossom. God's getting some action in there as well with a cheeky frag. And that is not what Selfless wanted. That is now the payload probably making it all the way to the second checkpoint. I don't think there's much that Selfless can do from this point. We have a Luminosity already on top of things.
They could rush out of one of the doors with Lucio support. Oh, never mind. It looks like only Juvenile got that memo and everyone else actually stayed behind. As a result, Seagull getting 2 more kills here. Reaper's actually coming into his own. There aren't that many people focused on bringing him down right now, and that's actually presenting so many problems. Selfless are now trickling out. Chili just trying to buy himself time. But again, it's not time they need to buy, it's distance.
Absolutely, and right there, Chili popped an ultimate in the spot, a Transcendence in the spot, which, again, couldn't really help them very much. He wasn't able to synergize with any teammates, and to see if that would come into play later, losing that ultimate. We do have Luminosity trying to just basically push Selfless back all the way with these few frags that they've got. They keep the pressure on to allow a lot of space for the payload to move freely, and it will do just that. It's moving quite quickly at the moment, as it has all 3 players just sitting on it. And
well, 69.12, and it's already up to about 30. So these guys, I mean, it's very dangerous sitting across here because basically the moment the payload pops into view, it's like 2 seconds away from actually completing the map. Seagull coming in with the Death Blossom, an excellent counter actually. We have Transcendence coming down, but really it was the Lucio ult that saved the skins of more people there. Still playing 6v4 though on the side of Luminosity, and Indus at the moment trying his best to support, and Enigma's got ultimate available. If there's a big team fight, watch out for that Ana.
yeah, looks like Luminosity are consistently just beating Selfless out and just continuing to have better numbers, and they're going to move the payload all the way. They will defeat Selfless in this little battle here. So
I wanted Ana ult to finish the game. Oh.
Denied.
Denied. And Gods as McCree, not unsurprising there, getting play of the game with approximately all of the kills. That Deadeye was actually pretty brutal. No more Reinhardt, no more Zenyatta, and basically no more push coming out of Luminosity.
Well, that was a fun one. We got 24.3k damage there on Seagull, which is very nice to see.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that's
on the low end of average, I think you might say. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. That kill from Gods right there. That one when he went straight past Mercy and went, no, I'm headshotting McCree. I know what my priorities are. Absolutely clutch. Really, really liked it.
Yeah, very nicely done. And, well, it's exciting. I'm glad we have another map that we can watch these 2 teams battle on, because I think there's a lot that Selfless can still show us. But as you mentioned, Seagull and Co, they are ones to be flashy. So I want to see more of that. What other combos will they bring to the table?
We didn't actually get to see the Ana Death Blossom combo, which I was kind of hoping for. I hope we see that in the next map. And I think actually that match, being objective, summed up some of our opinions on what this would look like beforehand. We saw Selfless, in particular Michael 3D, who I thought was quite good, display flashes of excellent individual brilliance, but unfortunately for them, we had Luminosity just consistently be able to deliver that basically after every checkpoint, and that's really the difference between the 2 teams.
Well, it's we'll have to see if that difference continues to be prevalent in the next map, because that is coming up very shortly after the break. Please stay with us, because I think it's going to be a great one. See you in a moment.